Hi, good morning, boys and girls. Johnny at Mr. Forex Fire. We're just getting a sharing the screen. Just bear with me. So I want to go over some stuff I was learning just the other day, which was the AMD, which is basically accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Okay. If you didn't see any of this, I posted I posted quite a bit. Well, I posted two or three setups of this of how it works. Excuse me. Where again we had accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Okay, where we come out of a session box, manipulate price, and then we come back in to the deciding session, and then we use this to do the deviation tool, and we expect the distribution phase. Now I did this also in a great video on my Facebook wall. I've done this yesterday, and I put it up on here. It's around about, I don't know, let's have a look. I'll just click on play. It's around 15 minutes long. Oh, God, Chip. And I'll just minimize the volume you can see on here. I'll just go through the different aspects of what I was looking at. So today, if you want to go and see, just go to my Facebook wall, look for John Docherty, or just hashtag a Forex Fire. It should bring something up like that, okay? But this morning, I'm not looking at the fire entry as such. I just want to start looking at this AMD. Now, basically, what it is, it's a consolidation of price, then a breakout where the manipulation is. So if I just highlight this as an example, okay, so like I say, I've got a manipulation here, a accumulation, sorry. So it's an accumulation sell point, okay. So you can see here, this is where price was doing through Asia. We've had a breakout, okay. So we could do a box here and see, all right, yeah, well, that is the manipulation sell side of things, okay? So what's happened is we've accumulated this, we've had a breakout of this session, okay? So where price is at the moment, we're looking sort of like for an FVG to form, okay, where we need price to sort of, as it came up and done this, came out, manipulated out the accumulation. We need to see something deliver with a FVG here and then a continuation down. Okay, so at this moment in time, where did this come from? It came from right around about here. So if we do, let's have a look, that to that, that's the level. What I'm waiting for is a delivery of price where it's going to leave an FVG on the sell side of things. Now, this is just the first part of the model. Again, it doesn't mean to say that it's going to do this direction, but this is what I'm looking at, because eventually, if we do get a push out of the market structure shift of this manipulation, okay, the next part of the puzzle is the distribution. And the distribution can go to the 2, the 2.5, or to the 4. The 4 would bring it down and sweep the New York EM session of yesterday. The 2.5 would bring it into yesterday's New York PM session. So again, if I just put that there, we're looking for that phase to produce itself, which will be the distribution cell. Okay. So that's basically the AMD. We're looking for accumulation of price generally in a session like Asia. Manipulation is where we break out. It traps, in this occasion, it would trap the buyers to think that there's going to be a buy because of a breakout. But then price has manipulated. It comes back in, does a market structure shift through where this higher low is. And as it pushes through there, it would leave some form of, let's say, fair value gap for price to come back in to respond from. Okay. And then when it does that, we're sort of anticipating, let's get this on here, guys. We're anticipating the momentum of the price to run through. Let's get this on here. Okay. And that's what I'm looking for as a setup today. Okay. Accumulation. manipulation as it's broken out of here. And then as we come through here from the leg, this higher low, to this higher high, we're waiting for a market structure shift. Hopefully it leaves an FAG behind, and then we go to one of these deviations, either the 2, the 2.5, or the 4. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that. It doesn't mean to say that price on here. It doesn't mean to say that price is actually going to come in and deliver that. Okay. Like I say, we're expecting it to do this. It might not do that, okay? This might simply just do this, mess around, and then continue, right? So what you can do is come into here and look at, like I say, currency strength meter, and we'll look at, we've got the CAD JPY now. The CAD is strong, JPY is weak. So this is going to tell me that price may deliver in this nature, okay? We might just get, because we've delivered a higher high, we might come in, this might just be a higher low. And then because the CAD, excuse me, because the CAD is the strongest, we might actually follow this path here as opposed to this. But the AMD, that accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, this is the sort of process that I would be looking at with regards to a momentum shift. That's the selling model of what we would be anticipating. Okay, so I'm going to run through one or two different setups. So like I say, I've got the blueprint on here. We'll have a look at some of the others. Like you see, we'll go on the Euro Odd. So again, here you can see here, I mean, price has done it here, to be fair. I mean, we're looking at this from a different aspect. We've got accumulation here, okay? There's accumulation. That's accumulation. The manipulation is where it came out of the New York PM, okay? So again, do this to this. This is the manipulation phase. Manipulation, okay? Now, when price broke out here and delivered back into the New York PM session, where was price? Where did this come from? Okay, where it came from, that leg there, and we come down to here. Okay, so what we're looking at is for that leg where the high down to the low of the manipulation break. Okay, we're looking for, was there an FVG? Well, you've got one here, okay, and it's tapped into it. But you also had one right here. That is an FVG there, okay? Why? It's simply because on the delivery of price, the wick to the left and the wick to the right, there's a body of candle here, okay? That's an FVG in itself. So if we just get that and pull it along, it was tapped into beautifully right here. Okay, so there would have been a trade there as well. Okay, so if I just get that, if I just get this, and I just put in the FVG templates. Okay, so we know we tapped into an FVG. So you would have had a long position right here. Stop loss would have been here. Okay. Now you're looking for your deviations as your target. So you're looking for, you want something where you're going to get at least a 1 to 2. So you're going to go to your first deviation, which will be a 2. So this is delivered a 1 to 3. There is a deviation 2.5, which will give you a 1 to 4.27, but that's the low hanging fruit there. Okay. So accumulation, we come out with manipulation. We identified when we got the push, there was an FVG left behind here. Okay, so your distribution phase is this right here. So again, the rundown, the model, accumulation, price during a session has just been higher highs, higher lows, like double top, double bottoms. Okay, we manipulated out of price, out of the zone. We come back up, we structured out of this here. We left the fair value gap behind. We tap into it, and then we identify when we do that as a creating model. You then have your distribution fears. Look at that, guys. Absolutely fantastic to the T. So I'm just going to put this into here for now. I'm just going to try and run through some of these today. I'm going to try and catch one of these live, to be fair, as well. Okay. It looks as if we're doing well for this one at the moment. So just going to put the CAD JPY there. I'll put the euro order at the 5 minute. I need to do another basket. We'll have a look at the euro GBP. All right, so I'm not liking the look at that. Euro GPY, we'll see if we can see something on here. Right, so at the minute, let's have something marked on this. So we can see price has came up. Okay, yes, it hasn't come down to here, but price has basically done this. Okay, so we know we've got accumulation, manipulation, because we broke out of the high here. We're looking for a pull back in with a structure shift, say like from here, leaving behind a possible fair value gap, tap back into to come lower. Okay, so let's get the blueprint on here. So we're marking out the box. We're identifying the Asia session. Okay, has been from a sell standpoint. That's your accumulation sell. We've identified we've had a breakout of the accumulation with regards to manipulation, okay? And we understand that that is the manipulation side of thing where there's been a breakout. So it's a manipulation sell, okay? What I'm waiting for now is price to come down, break through something on here, and possibly leave behind some form of FVG. That's the next part of this puzzle. I want an FVG to be delivered. Okay, put this on here. Go to save as. Okay, so I'm waiting for price to come back down through here and then come into maybe an FVG. We already have an FVG here, okay? So we could get an inverse FVG. And then what that would mean is if we do get that from this aspect, we would be looking at something along the lines of that's where price was delivered from the low up to that there. Okay, so I'd be looking at a distribution fears to come maybe something along the lines of this. That will possibly be my distribution fears right there. Just get rid of that. That's what I'm looking at for to be delivered on this. So that's my blueprint for that there. So I've got two as a possible setup at the moment. Okay. So go back that Euro GBP. I didn't like the look of that one, if I remember. We're looking at the Euro USD. And again, I can see things on here starting to build up. We can see accumulation right across here. Okay. So again, why is this accumulation? Well, simply it's just price that has just pushed out of the Asia. Again, manipulation this phase. We do expect if it goes through the trading model, we do expect a push back through, shifting from this higher low, performing at FVG, okay, and then tapping in and then going on here, okay, and doing this. So this particular phase, with this being the manipulation, okay, this being the manipulation. Why is it manipulation? It's simply because it's broken out. Okay, it's broken out of our accumulation zone. Okay, so now we anticipate maybe a push to the downside. It doesn't say it's going to do it, but it's the blueprint for the sell model for this, okay? We wait for a push to come out through a position through here. And when it does that, I'm hoping to see some form of, let's say, a fair value gap. You can trade this without a fair value gap, but to be honest, you would want to see a fair value gap because it gives you added confluence. And then if price does shift through this, you would then expect a distribution phase from this down to this. And if we just go into this here and we mark this as a possible, remember, distribution phase, okay? And why would it be a distribution phase? It's because price was delivered from that high low to this, okay? And you'll be coming to maybe a point of deviation of 2, at 2.2, at 2.5, or a 4. So now I've got my blueprint again, okay? I've got my blueprint of what I want to see happen, okay? So again, we'll go to Euro USD on here. We'll go to GBP ORD. Let's just take a look at this here. Can you see what I'm seeing? Accumulation, manipulation as it's broke out of Asia, okay? So let's mark this again, Asia session. Let's get this marked up. And like I said, we might not get the model deliver itself today, but again, we're doing the blueprint. Accumulation, why? Simply because price during Asia has just been inside of a box, okay? Manipulation is came due to a breakout, okay? When we get that, we want to come back inside, come back to maybe an FVG, and then the delivery of price, okay? So again, we've got the accumulation. Where is the manipulation? Well, it came in the form of a breakout here, okay? And we just highlight this and we just say, right, that's the manipulation sell point. What am I waiting for after a manipulation sell point where I want price to break down through here and I want to maybe have some form of FVG? Okay, so you're basically putting down the blueprint and the breadcrumbs, what you want to see from price. If price does not deliver like this, then fair enough. You just understand that price didn't want to come through this. If it does come through your blueprint, then you've got confluence, okay? So again, we look at where was this manipulation started from? Well, we started from this wick here. So we mark out that deviation fib, okay? And then we understand that we are looking at something along the lines of from this up to the 2, okay? The 2 deviation takes us to the New York EM session yesterday. We'll mark this up as a possible distribution sell-off. And we're just waiting for price to come into our areas. And like I said, you can't make it any easier for yourself than what I'm just doing on here. So we'll go into GU now. Again, guys, look at this. This is an absolute beauty, this one. Accumulation, okay? So we've got an accumulation sell point. We've got manipulation, okay? And I need to do this a little bit quicker because it looks like it's setting up. That's the manipulation. We've got an FVG right here, okay, which could get tapped into, okay? And then where did the manipulation start point come from? Where it came from this wick low here. So we just mark this out, okay? And then we say, right, well, the FVG, if it gets tapped into, we're looking for a distribution of a sell-off, okay? So that would mean on the path, we've had this interaction, manipulation out of the accumulation, okay? We come out, we've broken out of a market structure shift, we've left behind an FVG, we wait for price to deliver itself, coming back into this, and then we look for that sell-off, okay? So what you could see is price on a short, we could say, right, well, we're looking for this This would be our SL area. A standard deviation of this here, of the two, is more or less a 1 to 2. So we're looking at this as a standpoint. So I'm just going to save that there. We'll bring the GBP USD down. We'll look at the GBP JPY. Right, again, look at this, guys. The more you annotate, the more you mark these up, the more you're going to see it. Accumulation symbol. Okay. You got your accumulation. What's happened after the accumulation? Well, you've had a manipulation because you've had a breakout. Okay. That there is your breakout. So that becomes the manipulated area because it's trying to trick people to trade the breakout and trade the buys. So now we're waiting for something like an FVG. Okay. I'm putting this part in because for me, it's going to be very, very confluent with what you're expecting. Okay. So again, on the path aspect, you've got the Asia session. Okay. Manipulation. You're going to wait for a breakout, maybe a market structure shift from here, a tap back into a possible FVG if one gets formed here, and then a continuation drive. Okay. Where did the manipulation phase come from? Well, you look for on a sell point, you look for the higher low. Okay. So you're drawn from the higher low up to the wick. Okay. So then you're giving yourself a ballpark figure of, yes, from here, maybe to the 2.5 on this occasion, you're looking for the distribution sell-off. Okay. So for this to enact itself, you're waiting for the market structure shift from here, pull back into the FVG to then do the drop. So this is what we're expecting for today. It might not do it, but the blueprint is there for us to follow. Okay. We'll look at the USD card. I marked this one up this morning. It done around about 1%. It came to about 1%, but then it turned on me. I actually put this into the Discord this morning as well. We just look in Discord. Take a look. You can see this is what I've done on here. All right. Let's have a look in here. USD Swiss franc. Right. So we could mark this up as accumulation. Okay. We understand we've broken out with manipulation. Yeah. Where did the manipulation come from? Well, we can see a bullish candle here. So basically, you're looking at that there down to that there. Okay. You'd be looking for the path as it's done, the accumulation. Okay. Into the manipulation. Why? Because it's broken the session low. We'd be expecting a structure shift coming up to this side, maybe coming out of this bullish candle here to come back into maybe an FVG to then take off. Okay, so you just put the blueprint of maybe an FVG here. Okay, so you're lining up what you're expecting for a trade. And after you expect something like that, it doesn't mean to say that FVG is going to be here. Okay, I'm just looking for an FVG if the bullish buying power comes in. And then you're looking for a distribution phase. Be along the lines of, you see what I'm doing? I'm templating what I expect from a move. This just, when I seen this yesterday and the pieces of the puzzle were just sort of falling into place, I was like, oof, it just blew me mind because very, very visual. It's showing you where you expect price to go. Like I said, price may want to, as it does this, okay, it may do that. If it does that, then fair enough. You just understand the delivery of the model that you were going to be trading hasn't been delivered there today. But if it does start to go in the path of the direction of what you expect, and then bits get filled in, bang, you've got a trade, you know. It doesn't mean to say it's going to do what I've just placed out here. It's just an expectancy of a trade model, okay? If it doesn't do it, then it's a trade that wasn't taken. If it does start to follow that pattern and that blueprint, then very well, it's all good. You've got a chance of a probability of a trade playing out, okay? So we'll bring this into here and we'll look at the USD JPY. Once again, you see, by now you should be seeing what I'm seeing. Instantly, I can see the accumulation phase. Okay, I can see accumulation. Yeah, we can now see we've had a manipulated phase. Why? It's because it's broke out. So you go back into this, you do the manipulation. Okay, where has it manipulated from? Well, you look for where the candle wick high or low has been. Okay, so you're just drawing from the candle wick high or low over to here. Okay, so we are anticipating. Okay, yes, I know it started down here, but we can see here. Okay, manipulation. Why? It's because it broke out here. We're looking to come down and have some form of market structure shift. Hopefully, it leaves behind a fair value gap, and then we look for the sell-off. Okay, so I'm looking hopefully for some form of a fair value gap. Again, it might not do this, but it's part of the trading model I'm looking at. And then what comes if we get a touch of a market structure shift into a fair value gap? Well, you guessed it. It is the distribution. The distribution is the fears of where you are actually taking a trade. Okay. So we'll come here, distribution. So now I've got a blueprint there. If I get price comes down and delivers through this higher low, it's a market structure shift. Was there an FVG left behind? Okay. It doesn't mean to say it's going to do that, but again, it's what we expect from a probability. If the trade follows this, then we've got targets, we've got entries, we've got exits. Okay. There's other things I could do with this where we could refine it. But again, I've got a basket of things here at the minute. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to see what happens with this. We'll see if we can get a trade from one of these 8. I'm going to run through each one at the minute just to see where we are. And then we can take it from, okay? So again, price is starting to deliver the way I wanted to right here, okay? Albeit we've not had an FVG yet, okay? We just adjust this to different ways. We could go down to maybe a 5 minutes because price is going the way we want it to see. We can see an FVG, to be fair. We do have an FVG on the 1 minute, to be fair. So there's an FVG there. I'll go back up to the 15 minutes. Yeah. And if I go back into the 1 minute, if I take the short, I'll say, right, well, I want price. Maybe come and touch back into here. That would be the SL area. We could then say, right, 1 to 1, 6. We could say, right, just a simple 1 to 2. I know I've got the deviations here, but we could say maybe a 1 to 2. Or if we were to go with the deviation, let's just see what would happen. See if I can get this on the same price levels. 3, 5, 2. Right, that's the same. If I put this one onto a deviation of 4, okay? So now I've got another entry. The euro odd Go back up to 15 minutes. So we know the euro or delivered an entry, okay? So I'm just going to put this into green. I've got the KJPY. I'm going to put it into green. I'm going to go back to the euro. Right, so price is delivering down in where I'm expecting to get some sort of FVG. Euro, USD, again, price is delivering down through this, which I like. GBP odds, price is moving away from us now. Okay, so this may not deliver what we want to do. That's fine. I'm just going to make this purple just so I can distinguish that it might not deliver. The GU, right, so we've got price on here. We just move the FVG along to here. There's an FVG there. There's also the FVG there, which is what we did mark up. Okay, so again, I'm just going to put this as FVG. Mark that as a deeper one. I am going to place a trade here, a setup possibly right here. I'm going to place this above that FVG, and I'm going to put this here to that 1 to 2. Going to put the distribution here. So I've got two possible areas of setups here. Reason why I've gone for an SL above the SVG is because we might come back in and tap this. Okay, so again, I'm just going to put this into pink's test. Put this into here. GBP, GFEY. This is reacting the way I'm wanting it to at the minute. I do want to see a push through here. There is FVG at the moment. It's very, very slight. Okay, so it's very, very slight on that. I can just see a short position FVG here. It's a massive, massive 65 pips to be fair. It's a huge one. That's so again, make it pink. Need to find a refinement system if that makes sense. USD Swiss franc. Waiting for price to come up through here. USD JPY. Yeah, it's still moving. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video, guys, okay? And then I'm going to come back and take a look at what I've been setting up. But hopefully, you're starting to see how I'm marking these up. So again, we're just going to look at the ones that have possibly got set up. So I know we looked at the euro odds, there was accumulation, manipulation, okay? And then we come and tapped straight into the FVG here. And then this is done at a 1 to 3.23. Look how it's just about to test the 2.5 deviation. So that would probably take it up to that would probably take it to a 1 to 4, to be fair. 1 to 429. So again, we'll just put this in. The KJPY. We need to take that down to the 1 minute, don't we? So the KJPY, we haven't quite come back to tap into this yet. If I just go back up to the 15 minutes, and if I just put in on here, 1 min plus entry, okay, if I just put that in there, I know to go down to 1 minute. The GU, okay, we're looking for a possible tag back into this area here. It might leave the station and the GJ. Okay, we're looking for pullbacks into this. Hopefully, though, you're seeing the power in this, okay? This is just something that I was watching yesterday. Looking at things previously, what I trade. When I seen this, I just sort of had a light bulb moment on how I can template something. And I know a lot of people go on about ICT stuff, and it's ICT accumulation manipulation distribution. It's not ICT. It's been derived from Wyckoff. Okay, ICT just gave it these names and sort of repackaged the stuff. But the way he teaches stuff and everything like that, it's just overcomplicated nonsense. But for me, I try to simplify things, and I think putting them building blocks in will simplify this. It's giving you structure, it's giving you a process to follow mechanical wise, but at the same time, it's keeping you 2 steps ahead of what you expect to happen. With the visualization of putting those areas in and annotating those areas, it's giving you a visual aid to then look and think, well, if it continues on that path, the next expectancy is this part of the puzzle. If that part of the puzzle comes to fruition, we've got a trade entry. Okay. So again, we'll see what happens throughout this today. We do see that the euro odd did produce a trade. If I just go back to that euro odd, you see if it's actually tagged. I want to see if it's going to tag that 2.5 to give it a 4.29 win. We'll see what happens from there, but I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to be back in a short while, but this is going to be turning out to be a good sort of session, I believe. Okay, I'll see you in a bit, guys. Right, so we can see we've got an FVG here on the Euro Japanese yen. So let's sort of tap in this. And again, we've got such a big SL. I need to try and work upon something on these SL things. So we've got a 1 to 2. We'll see. We'll get a tap into that. We'll make that green. I need to try and sort of bring something down on these. The Euro USD at the minute. There's been no FVG at the minute. I'm just going to go down to 5 minute on this one. There's an FVG here. Okay, so we could get a tap into this. Short position here, maybe. And then we'll take this into that deviation of 2. Again, we could just get a 1 to 2 for low hanging fruit. So I want to do a tester on this. 328. Maybe a 1 to 2. A simple 1 to 2 process. There we are. And I'm just going to write on here 5 min entry. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to bring this into here as well. And again, today, right, I've got to stress this. Right, so today we might hit loads of losers, but without doing this process and without going through the failure on things, then we'll not progress. Okay, so I've seen power in what I've seen with this. It's all about being able to filter in an entry system on it. So for me, the terminology of feel is first attempt in a lesson. Okay, feel. So again, you have to feel to be able to progress. So if these feel, I don't mind. I just know that the first part of my puzzle is they are going and doing what I expect them to do with regards to the path of this AMD. Okay, so it looks like this is just about to go in and touch. So I'm going to go back up to the 15 minutes and go back to the basket where it's got the anchors. So again, we're not getting any momentum to the downside at the minute. I do want to see this. This is just simply tanking and going against us. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means the first part of the puzzle was there. This was an expectancy part, and it just isn't. It isn't showing up to the game, to be fair. We just continue with this at the moment. Again, accumulation, manipulation. It might be that we need to bring this further down. If it does, we simply follow it, okay? And we follow this down as well. We just bring all the bits of the puzzle down until we start seeing the momentum shift to the way we want it to. Okay, so again, onto the USD JPY. All right, there is no fair value gap as such because this is closed up above it. I'm just going to go down to 5 minutes. We can see there's no fair value, and even into the 1 minute, there is a fair value there on the 1 minute. Let's check on the USD JPY currency strength. USD is much stronger than the JPY, so I wouldn't necessarily be looking to get in on a position on this at the moment. I would rather say the 15 minutes be confluent in the movement and the momentum of what I want to see. Going straight into a 1 minute setup would be suicidal on this because it is bullish on the USD GPY, and at the moment we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, double tapping into higher lows, to be fair. So I want to see more. I want to see a break of this, if I'm honest with you. Okay. So we've got three which we've got on a watch list at the minute. Let's have a look at where we've got at the minute. We do have obviously this one that played out the Euro odd, the CAD JPY. We do have an entry. The 1 minute entry was possible, so going to 1 minute entry. We are waiting for a tag into this. Go back to the 15 minute. We'll go to the Euro JPY. Again, it looks like the Euro JPY is just about to tap into the FVG of that 15 minutes for an entry. The Euro USD, again, 5 minute entry possible. We've got the 5 minute entry. It's came into the FVG, so we could put this into the FVG area. So there is a tagged entry at the minute. So we're looking for like a 1 to 2. If I just pull this out. There's a 1 to 2. The deviation of the 2 would give you a 1 to 3.76. We'll see what comes with that. The GU, let's take a look and see what's happening with the GU. We're waiting for, obviously, we were looking at a tester on this. We're trying to get in on an entry on this FVG with the stop loss just above the previous FVG. At the minute, it hasn't quite tapped it. Okay. We could just see, like, we'll try that for a 1 to 2 as well, to be fair. So we could be waiting for a tap into this as well. Let's have a look. That's about a 1 to 2 there, to be fair. The GBP, JPY, 15 minutes. We're going up into, we're waiting for a touch to come back into this. Again, this is a huge SL though. It's around about 65 pip SL, to be fair. We do have a bit of a retracement here where we could have maybe an SL test too. I'm just going to place this on here. I'm going to keep it as it is at the minute. So rundown. Let's have a look at the rundown before I pause the video again. The basket, which we're waiting for price to sort of do what we want it to do on here. The G here is just not wanting to play a ball with us. The U chef. Again, the U chef, we could still expect maybe a market structure shift from these, okay, where then we could have an FVG in here somewhere. This here, where we've got FVG, remember, this does not state as an FVG here. I'm just waiting for a price to come up and pull up into this. Okay, to maybe come into an FVG that gets delivered as price does a market structure shift from here. Okay, so eyes is on the price with this one. The USD JPY, again on this one, we've had the accumulation manipulation because of the breakout. Prices come down, market structure shift through here. We'll go into the 1 minute. Again, we said we could possibly get in on the 1 minute FVG that was here, but the USD JPY was too strong for the USD, to be fair. So I do want to see a bit more of a breakdown through here than a touch into this, if I'm honest. Now we're going into the field of play where we've had trades enter or just about to enter. Euro odd is a winner. CAD JPY, again, we're looking for a 1 minute possible entry. I'll go to the 1 minute. It's not quite tagged in. Remember, the Euro JPY, again, looks like we're going to get a tag into the system here. The Euro USD, a 5-minute possible entry. We've got a tag into the fair value gap. It's dropping. Okay. Come back up that 15-minute. The GBP USD. Again, we're waiting for a touch up into this here with the fair value holding an SL above here. So this is a tested trade. The GBP, JPY, again, another one that we're testing into. A bit of a bigger SL. Okay, that's the update on what we're seeing at the minute. I'll pause the video. I'll be back in a short while. All right, just a quick one, guys. Okay, the G here for me, it's not going to follow the plan, so I'm just going to put this back up in here. USD, Swiss franc. Let's have a look at this. For me, this could come back up and do the path, but again, I've got enough on it today, so I'm just going to take that up there. USD JPY, that's in the basket at the minute. Again, the USD JPY is slightly strong. I'll keep this on here for now, but I'm going to go have a little run through where we are at the minute. There's a 2.5 deviation hit. That's a 4.29%. CAD JPY at the minute, again, 1 minute possible entry. I'll go down that 1 minute. We haven't quite tapped into it yet. The Euro JPY, we've tapped into the FEG. Okay, we'll look at the Euro JPY at the moment. The JPY is super weak, so this will go against us, guys. I'm telling you now, Euro is the strongest, JPY is super weak. This is not a good trade to take, to be fair, but I'll keep it marked up. But I'm going to call it now. Currency strength heavily against us. Okay, just watching the model. Just watching the model for now. Okay, so we know this is heavily against us. Call it now while we're at break even. We'll just see what happens with the currency strength. So again, this one's going to go purple. The Euro USD is green because we know we're into a trade. So we've tapped up into the trade. So the ones that are green, guys, is the ones I'm happy with is a regular trade setup model. Okay. Again, we haven't quite tapped into the 1 minute. The JPY is super weak. It's super weak at the minute, the GP. I think it's because we've come off the bank holiday in Japan as well. So again, we've got the Euro JPY, which is purple, which I know is heavily against us. The GBP USD, again, we're waiting for a tap. We've had a tap, look. We've had a tap into the FEG. This is fantastic. And we're looking for a 1 to 2. And we'll see if this is going to give the entry based upon the lower FEG. Okay. Again, I've got the SL, instead of it being above the manipulation, which is where we should really have it, I'm putting it just above the previous FEG. So I'm trying to be a bit more aggressive with the entry, but we'll see how this plays out. Okay. It is pink because it's a tested trade due to the nature of what we're doing here. And the GBP, JPY, what we've got is a top entry into this area now, and this is firing away also. Again, it's a 1 to 2.13 down to the 2.5 deviation. If this was to go to just the 2 deviation, okay, if this was to go to just the 2 deviation, it's only a 1 to 1.52. Okay, I'll pause the video. We'll come back. We'll see where we are with these trades at the end of this session. Really am liking this session, this model, this trade model and the setups. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, guys, let's have a catch up, see what's happening. Right, so we know the Euro odd was a winner, and it looks like it's actually going to head for the other deviations higher up. I do want to check on the USD JPY. To be fair, we still haven't broken through the model of expectancy. So we know the Euro odd was a winner. The CAD JPY, it has entered. In fact, no, did it or did it not? We did put 1 minute. We did put this, didn't we? 1 minute possible entry. It still hasn't quite touched the entry. So we're still waiting for an entry on that Euro USD. Let's check the currency strength. Euro USD, they're both pretty strong. To be fair, the euro is slightly stronger, so it's against us at the minute. If it strikes out, then so be it. We just follow the model in the process and the template, okay? Euro JPY, we'll take a look where we are with this. Against the currency strength was heavily against us, so we're just watching this model. That's why I put it purple. Check that just by the currency strength, to be fair. This currency strength back on. Say JPY super weak the day. So again, we do expect this to take us out. The GU, we do have the entry on the FBG. Remember, we put the SL just above the previous FBG. So it's in profit slightly. And the GBP, JPY, again, we've had a tap into that FBG. Again, accumulation, manipulation, price breakthrough, market structure shift, lean behind an FBG, taps into the FBG, and now it's wanting to come down. The only thing I would say about this is obviously the JPY is super weak, so that would tell us the JPY, this may want to sort of push itself higher, to be fair. But again, that's the basis and the preference of the model, albeit the final step that we would need is for the currency strength to be in our favor. So we do expect this to stop us out. So again, the JPY is super weak today. So JPY is the weakest today. So we just need to emphasize that. So that would tell us that the JPP may be bullish, to be fair. We're marking up. But the preference of what I'm getting at is we identify in structure 3 steps. We need to identify accumulation. We need to identify the manipulation where we get the breakout. And then we need to identify a possible distribution area where if we do come back in through a market structure shift like this, is there an FBG behind? There has been one left behind. But the signs tell us or point towards the Great British Pound super strong. The JPY is weak. Today, though, there is a Bank of England speech at 3 p.m. Okay, I don't know what it's about. I don't know what's going to be said, but we'll just wait and see what happens with this. Again, there's PPI later on tonight towards midnight on the JPY. We'll probably see a lot of movement on the JPY later on tonight, to be fair. Overall, JPY is super weak. The GBP is stronger. There is news later on this afternoon. But the preference of the AMD is there. It's just the currencies against us, okay? We'll have one little look back on the USD JPY, and we can see, again, it's just that's going against us as well. I'm going to take a little look at the NAS, the US 30 and whatever else have you, okay? I was looking at these yesterday, and there was a fabulous setup on here. Accumulation, manipulation, coming into New York, we come up and come back into the FVG. This gives us the distribution area. A nice 1 to 1.7 was done here. So I'm just going to minus that off at the minute. And I'm going to sort of look at this, and we can see at the minute, okay, we can see we can include yesterday's as well, to be fair, because the session is inside. So we can mark up this and see a look. Well, let's have a look. I'll get this here. We'll get rid of that. We can see, well, that there is an accumulation. Okay, that's an accumulation. We're looking at manipulation right here. So from the leg where it started down to the breakout, we can see we've got manipulation there. Okay. Now, from an aspect of what we're waiting for, okay, we identified accumulation, manipulation. Why? It's simply because it broke out the sessions. Okay. We're looking for this here. We could get a market structure shift into this. down to an FVG, and then the distribution phase might come. So we template this out, so we expect a possible market structure shift, maybe perform an FVG for us is the best way to put this. Then come back into tap, and then would be looking for something along the lines of a distribution. Okay, if I put this into the distribution field, and we also put in where did the manipulation start from? Well, it started from this high down to here. There's going to be a huge SL on this, to be fair, depending on where we get an entry on here. Okay, but the distribution, you could be looking at that there. So we could mark this up. Like I say, I'll mark these in pink. So we've got a possible setup there. US 30 again. I was looking at this one yesterday as well. I'll run through what I seen yesterday. Accumulation. The manipulation came from the breakout. Okay. Where did the manipulation start? Well, it started from this recent high here down to the low breakout. So we did the deviation from here. Was there an FVG? There was an FVG. It was bang on here. We tapped into it on the New York. The 1 to 2, okay? The 1 to 2.5 was a 3.13. It went up to the 4 deviation, as you can see here, okay? So it went up to a 4 deviation, and that there would have given you, a 1 to 5.5. So again, it's a fantastic model, guys. We'll delete all this off. We'll see what we're seeing at the minute. At this stage, we're just consolidated within the zones. We'll just leave that one alone. We'll look at the gold, okay? I did see one on gold yesterday. Again, accumulation, manipulation. We come up from a market structure shift. Deviation here, okay, the deviation to 1 to 2. It didn't quite reach the 1 to 2. This trade only managed to go to around about a 1 to 3.6. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that. What we can see at the minute is we've got at this stage we've got an accumulation. Okay, so the Asian into London, we've got accumulation. We could have this marked out, to be fair. So we say, right, accumulation, which ways are going to break out first? We'll put this into pink before we go to the next step. So it's either going to break out of here or it's going to break out on the top, which then you can identify your manipulation. Okay. We'll go to the US 500. Again, I marked this up yesterday as well. Accumulation, manipulation, because we broke out a structure. We have the deviation from the high down to the low. Okay. We could have looked to head towards a 1 to 3.95% move. It didn't do that. The deviation that it did do was a 1 to 2.5. So that gave us a risk to reward of 1 to 2.21. Okay. So again, that was a good trade that played out as well. However, we'll just get rid of all the drones. We'll take a look at what we're seeing. Let's mark this up. We can see at the minute, we can include the New York session, I think, as well. So we can see, right, well, that's an accumulation. Okay. We've got a manipulation because we've had a breakout of this. Okay. So again, we're looking for, as we come into this manipulation, we're wanting for a push up into possibly an FVG to then go higher. Again, let's mark up out the manipulation. The manipulation came from that session high down to this low where it's at the minute. So we can see, right, we've identified manipulation. We've got that there. What we're looking for now is a bull run to possibly come out through a market structure shift of this here, maybe leave behind a nice FVG. Again, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we are laying out a path and a structure for ourselves, okay? If we get the breakout and it leaves an FVG here, happy days. It just means we then are going to be looking for the deviation setup. So going from the high down to the low, it will be that structure high, okay? So then your deviation will be somewhat along the lines of that there. This will be a field of play for your distribution. Hopefully, with me doing these over and over and over again, it's giving you a sort of structure to be able to go and test this yourself. So again, I'm going to make this pink. Mark these up into here. We're going to have a rundown to see where we are right from the USD JPY. So again, USD JPY was stuck in the manipulation zone. Euro order we know played out and it went to the 2.25. It's given a 4.29% return at the minute. Card JPY, we do have a 1 minute possible entry. Did we get a tap into that? We have. We've got a structure tap into this FVG, okay? So now we are entered, okay? So I'm going to go back to the 15 minutes. I'm going to come back into this. And then I'm going to put in now entered. Okay, so now I know that that's done that. I'm going to go to Euro USD. Euro USD, it's meandering about. It's went into a little bit of heat. We have tapped into the FVG from the accumulation manipulation distribution area. It is in slight profits. Euro JPY, again, we are in a little bit of heat. The currency strength was heavily against us. Okay, we've got this market was purple. Again, we look at the strength, we can see it's just the JPY is just nowhere to be seen. The GBP USD, again, we're looking at a more aggressive entry with this one. We have had to tap into the FVG lower down. The ESL is just above the other FVG, so there's some nice profits on this setup at the moment. We didn't quite tap up into this entry here of the higher end FVG. Again, accumulation, manipulation, the field of play is the distribution here. We are in profits. We've got the GBP, JPY. Again, we've tapped the entry. The JPY is the weakest. It has come back into the FVG from the manipulation phase. Let's have a look at the three we've just done with the NAS. Again, we're waiting for a market structure shift up into a bullish range, leaving behind an FVG to then give us that field of play for the distribution. If it plays out, it plays out. If it doesn't, we just understand it wasn't to be. Gold, we are looking for a breakout of accumulation at the minute. The London session is stuck inside of the Asia, so we're consolidating at the minute. If we look at the strength, the reason why gold's doing this is just simply because the dollar is strong at the minute. Normally when the dollar's weak, we'll get a bull run on the gold. US 500, again, let's have a look at what we're doing on the template. We have the accumulation. Asia was inside of the PM session New York yesterday. We eventually broke out of not just the Asia session, but also the PM session of New York. This has given us our manipulation zone. After manipulation comes a distribution, okay? So for this instance, what we're waiting for is maybe a market structure shift up past this line, lean behind a possible FVG. Again, anything past this manipulation zone, okay, is what we expect. We are marking out what has happened. We are up to the manipulation area. For this trade to come to fruition and follow the rules based on the mechanics, we now wait for that little market structure shift, maybe leaving behind the FVG, which is going to give us an extra confluence. Tap the FVG, we've then got an entry. It doesn't mean to say the FVG will be this area exactly, okay? I'm just anticipating that. I'm following the model, I'm following the mechanics. This is the next set of rules that I'm expecting. So I'm setting out a template, I'm setting out the expectations. If I have a visualization aid like this in place and price does push to the buy side, this is how I want to see that buy side play out. It just gives you an extra visual tool to look through. So hopefully, guys, so far, I'm hoping this session has given you some light bulb moments. It should give you enough preference for you to be able to go to a chart, okay? Go to a 15-minute chart, put on that sessions indicator, have a look for accumulation for maybe an Asian session, which would be the easiest thing to do for now. Was there a breakout of an Asian session? Mark out the leg that is doing the manipulation, okay? From that manipulation, you're then going to be looking for where did the manipulation start from? Where did the manipulation go to? do your deviation fibs, okay? That's going to give you a field of play for if price then comes back into that session of the accumulation. Then you want to see that little bit of a fair value gap. You want to get that tapped in. You've got an entry, you've got your deviation setups for the fibs, and then it should be Bob's your uncle. You've got a good trade. Again, the setup is there, the mechanics is there, the model is there. Just because it, like on this one, this might decide on itself that, let's have a look. This might decide on itself. Where's the brush? There it is. This might decide on itself. Yes, it's trying to do the first part, manipulation. We do want to see it go above this here for a market structure shift. It may very well just do that. If it does that, we just accept that. It just hasn't followed the path of expectation. If it follows a path of expectation and breaks a market structure shift from down here, okay, it might leave that fair value gap like this here. We tap into that, we then get the entry, and then we can shoot off to the distribution phase. Okay, I hope this is making sense. I had a huge light bulb moment yesterday when I was watching this, and as soon as I'm done doing this video, I'm going to make a nice cup of tea, and I'm going to be going watch as much AMD stuff as I can on YouTube, and I'm going to try and filter out the noise, and I'm going to try and put in place a rundown and a structural way how we can do this. I'm trying to be as visual as I can with this, and I'm hoping it's coming across in the repetitiveness of what I'm doing. I hope it comes across well for you. Like I say, please drop your comments, not just in the Discord. Put your comments on this YouTube video. Let me know if this repetition is giving you a bit of a light bulb moment. Is there something you're struggling with you want me to talk about more on the trading model itself? Okay, the more comments I get, the more I can adapt and refine and do everything else, or even it might lead on to another segment or another video I can do. But hopefully today, as this being the first AMD video that I'm doing and the way I'm looking at it, hopefully it's given you guys a little bit of food for thought and something that you can sort of resonate with as well. I'll pause the video and we'll be back in a short while. We'll see where this takes us today. All right, okay, guys. So we're seeing this US 100. Okay, let's delve a little bit deeper in this. I did say the FVG. The FVG looks as if it could be forming. There's a tiny FVG here. Okay, we've got a minute and a bit left. So we could see an entry on the next candle. Again, target on the deviation. You're looking for the lowest is a 1.2. There's a 1 to 2 there. Going to blow on this. I'm going to look for the same price levels. That's the same price level. We'll take this up to a deviation 2 as well. So we've got a 1 to 1.33, but we've also got the 1 to 2 being here. I'll wait for this candle to close. We do have the very, very small FVG in here. Again, if I go at the 5 minute, you'll probably see the FVG there, to be fair. So I'll just widen that out a bit more. So the FVGs are round about there, okay, in this gap on the 5 minute. If you go down to 1 minute, you'd probably see a better one. Yeah, so we've got one there. We've got an entry, which is going to be around about here. I do need to refine this system. Okay, we've got a 15-minute candle going to form. We're waiting for the touch back down into here. So we've got a possible entry here. We'll have a rundown from the top to bottom of where we are. Right, so again, price is not delivering what we wanted to do within the accumulation manipulation. The distribution side, we're not getting a market structure shift. The euro order, we know it did deliver. We know it went to a deviation of 2.5. That's 4.29% on that trade there. The trade that is the KJPY, the 1 minute entry was possible entry. It now entered. We know that because it has officially went under a little bit of drawdown as well. The Euro USD, okay, we came in and tapped. We are in a little bit of heat at the moment. Euro USD as it stands with currency strength. Just like this, USD is strong, the euro is strong, but it's strongest on the euro. They're about the same, to be fair, so we may get some consolidation on the price action on this. It may even strike us out. We just got to accept that we're following the blueprint. We'll see what happens. Euro JPY, again, on this, we are expecting it to go against us simply because the currency strength was heavily against us, but we are just watching this from a model aspect. The GU, again, we had accumulation, manipulation, market structure shift coming back into the lower FVG. So we've got an aggressive SL here with regard to the with regard to the FVG just above the previous one being the SL area. Okay, we come in tapped into this FVG here. There is some nice profit. We are looking for a nice 1 to 2 on the aggressive side, but we also have this distribution area where we could tap into this to come onto the further down. Okay, GBP, JPY, where we are at the moment, we do have an entry. FVGs being tapped after a market structure shift, after accumulation, manipulation, distribution side. Again, remember, JPY is the weakest today, so we do anticipate this to possibly head and take us out as well. We're heading into the indices and that now with regards to all these. We haven't had the tap in on the NAS on the FVG. We are anticipating a move on the distribution side after accumulation, manipulation, distribution here. We do want to see it tap back into this area. The US 500, we can see, let's have a look. We are tapping into an FVG now, so there is an entry on this as well. At least there looks to be as if there's going to be an entry which go into here. We're going to go into a long. We want to see this tapped into. That's the possible SL up to a 1 to 2. That's the 1 to 2 model. Okay. However, I want to make this a bit lighter because it's. There we are. So what we're seeing on this, I'm just going to highlight and copy and clone this. I'm going to try and move it into the same price structure. There we are. We'll move this up to the deviation 2. So there's a 1 to 3.5. Okay, 1 to 3.5 here. But if we do get a tap in here, FVG, accumulation, manipulation, the distribution is on this side. Okay. So this is the 1 to 2 area on this for the low hanging fruits, and then we have a 1 to 3.5. Okay, on the deviation of 2. Okay, the gold, we're looking at gold again. We have had a breakout. Okay, so now we identified accumulation. We are now getting manipulation. The manipulation is coming from this low of the leg down to here. We can highlight manipulation now. Okay, so there's our manipulation. Okay, what do we expect from an aspect of the model? Well, again, we coming in, we've got an accumulated price. Okay, we coming broke, manipulating the breakout here. We do want to see price come back and do a market structure shift of some sort, possibly coming into an FVG that could be made. So again, it's not to say the FVG is going to be exactly here, but we are anticipating a market structure shift from the manipulation leg down. So we want to see a market structure shift from that aspect. Possibly as it goes to make that market structure shift, we then want to see hopefully an FVG form. Okay, if we get an FVG form, we look at where the manipulation came from. It came from this last spike of a pullback on the bullish leg down to here. There's your deviation fibs. We could then look for a possible distribution of somewhere along the lines of this. Okay, so again, come into this, we go into the distribution, come into style. I want to make this a little bit less green. I'm going to save it, text. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to save it as distribution. Make it a bit lighter. Save as distribution. Yeah, it's a distribution. And that's what I'm looking at from this aspect. So we've identified accumulation, manipulation phases in process. We want to see a market structure shift from this leg here. Hopefully it'll leave behind an FVG, tap back into it, then we're going to try and get a buy on this. Okay. Overall, with regards to gold, we do know it's bullish. It's making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We're now into a higher low phase. So the trend and what we're seeing is this could be in our favor today with regards to the model of what we're seeing as a setup. We are at the phase of trying to make a higher low. Will we get the market structure shift to get the continuation drive up? We'll see what happens with that. I'll take a look at that US 30 because there was nothing shown. For me at the minute, again, we've got accumulation with inside of this. I mean, instead of that being the accumulation, I would possibly look at this from an aspect of yesterday's session, to be fair. So again, we would use this as an accumulation phase. Yeah, I want to see price basically as it's accumulated price. I want to see maybe the manipulation come down, come back up, market structure shift into an FVG to then go higher. I want to see something along the lines of that. The reason why I'm picking this side at the minute is because we're on the sell side more so than the buy side of the US 30 at the minute. And that's where we are at the minute, guys. Okay. So again, one last little rundown as we run through. Well, we're not quite coming into a market structure shift, the US dollar yet. We've got the euro odd. We know it did a 4.29% move. The CAD JPY, again, it's at around about break even. It's at the 1 minute entry. It's touching. It's at a break even area at the minute. We've got the euro USD. It's coming back down into the field of play towards the entry area after it's been in a little bit of drawdown. The JPY has been super weak today, but the structure of this model is still holding. Currency strength is heavily against us, so we're just watching the model to see what it does. We then go into the GBP USD, see where we are with this. Again, we've tapped into the lower FVG. The SL on this aggressive move is just above the FVG, so there's a good bit of profit on either this morning for a 1 to 2. The GBP, JPY, we're into a break-even area at the minute. We did have accumulation, manipulation, market structure shift, FVG left behind, tapped into that, and we're more or less at the break-even area at the minute as well. Remember, JPY is super weak, so this could run through the SL. We then come into our indices and things like that. Get that back there. What we've got here is we're waiting for a tap into this to see that it's an entry. We do have accumulation, manipulation, market structure shift on this high here. We're waiting for the tap into for an agreement of entry. The US 500, again, we do have an entry there now. We've had a market structure shift coming up through this here FVG, which was on the lower time frame. We've tapped into that absolutely spot on beautifully. This is the model. This is the run of play we're looking at. A 1 to 2 low hanging fruit, but we do have a 2 deviation on the high side for a 1 to 3.5. The gold, Again, we're looking for the run of play on this, where the accumulation has been during Asian and London. We've had a manipulation breakout to the sell side on the Asian low and the London low. Okay, I want to see a market structure shift coming back in through the manipulation leg. Hopefully, if it does that, it's going to leave behind some breadcrumbs of an FEG. We'll have this as an area of confluence and a possible area for a continuation up here after this manipulation phase. Okay, so again, we'll want to see a bit more bullishness on this. At the minute, the USD is pretty strong. Okay, so again, we might not get that bull run on gold. The US 30 for now, we're just waiting for this to set up as well. We do have accumulation. I do want to see a run on the sell side before we come back up from a manipulation phase. Okay, so that's the run up so far, the run up play. It is now coming up to 11 o'clock. Really enjoying this session. It's something extra that I had a light bulb moment from yesterday. Hopefully you're taking notes. Hopefully you're enjoying this. And I'll see you in a bit, guys. Okay, guys, another quick update. Oh, excuse me. Late night last night. I do believe that some of these have struck out, to be fair. Euro Ord, we know, was a winner. Okay. CAD JPY was still in drawdown at the minute. It has ended on that FVG. The Euro USD, again, this has came and tapped out. I just want to go check the currency. I do know the Euro's been pretty the strongest all day today. The USD, you say it's full whack, to be fair, so we can understand why that's done that. Apologise, like I say, earlier at night. Euro JPY, again, we'll have a look at this. We'll come in, tapped into here. We're in a little bit of drawdown. Again, currency strength, guys, is everything. Euro is super strong. It's the strongest. The JPY is the weakest. It goes without saying. You can see that on here. Again, the GBP USD will go the same as the Euro USD, so this should have struck out. It struck out on this one where it was the more aggressive entry. Okay. However, we can see based upon this, it has touched that other FEG. So we'll watch this from a model aspect. Okay. We'll see what happens with this. The GBP JPY, again, we are in a little bit of drawdown. Again, oh, Jesus. The JPY is the weakest overall. So it goes without saying we should expect this to strike out. That's why we've got it in pink. That NAS 100, we got a tap entry into the model here on the FBG. So a tap entry on it. It's looking good. US 500, same on this, tap entry on the FBG. It's in profit. On gold, we are still waiting for that market structure shift with an FVG again. We may need to bring this down lower depending on if we get a market structure shift. From that there, you know. Let's get this in here. So again, we might get a market structure shift where we pull out of this and come back in. We just need to keep an eye on it. The US 30, again, we didn't get any sort of pull out of the accumulation just yet. So there's one gone against us at the minute, which was the Euro USD. We put this down to basically the JPY being, not the JPY, we'll put this down to the Euro being very, very strong at the minute. We are in a bullish uptrend, okay? So we need to understand what is happening. I mean, if we go on this 4 hour, we can say we've just been bullish for days, okay? Ever since Monday, in fact, the beginning of the week, we've just been super, super bullish. Take that back. We could say we've just been super, super bullish. It did try to come back down on Tuesday yesterday, but it just came into an order block here, you know. So overall, we are bullish on the Euro USD. So maybe it wasn't the right time to get there, but the model was there. The basic model was there. Again, we've got to feel before we progress. Like I say, the Euro JPY, the JPY is the weakest, the Euro is the strongest, massively against. I'll be very surprised if we do get anything from this. So out of the ones we've got so far, the Euro USD, the Euro JPY, and the GBP USD, I would expect these to strike out. So again, I would expect, I mean, I'll turn these red. We know that that's done it already. Uh, so I'm expecting that to go red. I'm expecting this one to go red, and I'm expecting this one to go red. So out of all the ones, we should get something from the others, or at least a little bit of profit of some sort. Again, I'm not expecting to get huge profits with regards to 2%, 3%, 4%. There is one on that euro odd at the minute where it has played out. But again, I want to see how the price flow goes on the model on this. But I think long term, looking at this from an aspect from a bigger picture, I'd need to try and maybe look at something with regards to top-down analysis and it's happening on the higher time frame sort of thing, you know. So I'll maybe look at a 4 hour. Is it confluent with the direction that we want to be moving in on the 15 minutes? It's got to come along the lines like that. Again, it's going to shorten the aspects of what's in the basket and what you're heading towards. But again, 15 minutes of the 4 hour, it should give you a good confluency of if both time frames are matching for the direction, then it's all good. But today is mainly okay, and I've got to get this through to everybody's head if they're watching this. Today is mainly about being able to identify structurally accumulation, manipulation, and a possible distribution combined with an FEG. If we can get the blueprint of that's the basics, but now we've got the model of what we need to look for. If we can implement that, when we look for the setup, we can maybe in the next videos that we do, when we get the blueprint for that set down, what is the 4 hour time frame telling us? Maybe we can, once we get a setup on the 15 minutes, if we go to the 4 hour, does that 4 hour show us that, like I see in this instance, there is a sell possible coming from this? I think that's going to be the way forward, guys. Okay, so just to run this through, I'll run it from top to bottom again. I'm not going to factor in the 4 hours now. We're just going to follow the blueprint of what we've got. We're waiting for a structure shift coming down on the USD. At the minute, price is sort of accumulation, manipulation. We want to see price structure break through this. Then maybe leave that for the FBG. You see, I've never really touched this. This is what I was expecting price to do. I wasn't expecting it in fairness on the USD JPY, but so far, as a price flow and price action is going, it's behaving and it's going towards the next step, which would be the distribution part. Okay. So again, there is good mechanics to this system, very good mechanics to this system. We know the euro odd has produced, it went up to the 2.5 deviation. So there's a 4.29% on that today. The CAD JPY, this moment in time, it's sort of hovering just above the break-even area in a little bit of drawdown. But the mechanics in the models there. We know the Euro USD has failed because the Euro was too strong and it's wicked out. The Euro JPY, we do expect this to go heavily against us. Will it hold its structure? At the moment, it is, but I am putting this in the bracket of I'm expecting it to stop us out. The GU falls in the same preference as the EU. It hasn't stopped out yet on this side of the model. On the aggressive setup with the lower FVG, it has. Will it hold enough to give us something on this side? I don't know. But in all honesty, I'm putting it in the red category because I do expect it to follow suit with the Euro USD. Okay, the Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. Again, we have tapped into order blocks here, and not order blocks. We have tapped into FVGs here from accumulation, manipulation, market structure shift, tapping back into the FVGs. It's just meandering about, and then we go into the indices stuff. We've got the tap into the FVG right here. We've got accumulation, manipulation. We're heading up after the top of the market structure shift back into the FVG. We are heading into some nice profits on this. The US 500, again, we are heading into nice profits on this as well. The gold, we are waiting for the market structure shift. Accumulation, manipulation, we're waiting for the market structure shift to come up to show us its hand, and then we can see there's an FVG comes into play with this. You see how the mechanics is following a good path there, and then we've got the US 30, which again, it's just struggling in the accumulation phase at the minute. So I'm interested really at the minute on this gold setup and the NAS and the US 500s. This particular model seems to do well on indices and metals, to be fair. Again, it does work on FX pairs, but I do believe we would need to at least factor in what's happening on a 4-hour aspect to like what's happening on this 15-minute. Okay, that's the update for now, guys. Hopefully you're taking notes and you're finding this useful. Again, drop your comments and let me know. I'll be back in a short while. Right, okay, guys, let's have a run up. We're at 25 to 1 now. We still haven't had the run of play on the distribution side on the USD JPY. We know the 4.29% was done on the Euro odd. The CAD JPY at the moment, we're still in some heat on that. The Euro USD, we know we struck out based upon the currency strength. So we've marked this red. The Euro JPY, we know that the JPY is super weak. However, this is still shown on its condition with the model, its holding structure. Oh. However, the currency strength was massively against us. The GBP USD, again, going on the preference of that with the Euro USD, we are expecting this to strike us out. The GBP JPY, okay, again, the JPY is super weak. So again, we do expect something to happen where this is going to strike out as well. Going on the strengths. Now we'll go on to these indices and things like that. The Euro, not the Euro, the NAS 100 is spot on. This is heading on for a 2%. It's over 1% profit at the minute. The US 500, same with this. It's hitting at around about 1% out of the 2% so far. Gold at the minute, we didn't get the run of play up into the market structure shift, so this is a no-no at the moment. And the US 30, again, we're still stuck within range. It's heading up into 50% of the New York PM session of yesterday. So we're just keeping an eye on things at the moment. I mean, again, you could say that there was accumulation here. You could say technically that this here is manipulation, and then what you're waiting for is a return back in. You're waiting for a market structure shift. Okay, we'll look a bit closer into this. There is no fair value gap at the minute, so again, the deviation on this at the minute, if I said that was going to be your manipulation area based upon the Asian session. So if I get rid of this, let's see it, and we'll see, right, with the Asian session, that would have been our accumulation. Okay, this is the manipulation phase. You're waiting for a market structure shift. Okay, so we've come down. Get this right, John. We could see a play like this. It could come earlier than we thought. So market structure shift, what we're seeing is we could see a run of play of that, which we have done. Okay, so we could see a start of a market structure shift. I want to see, excuse me, I do apologize, guys. I do want to see maybe a run of play up to the buy side a bit, leave behind maybe a fair value after the market structure. Okay, where did this manipulation come from? Where this was a bullish candle here, you could see right from this to here, along to that wick low. Okay, you've got a deviation of 2 to 2.5. Really, really tired today, guys. A true day open of the other week, okay, which was Friday, which would never really come back into return to. So this true day open, okay, it could be heading into that as an area, 50% of the 2 to 2.5. You could be looking for an entry sort of thing as you've got a market structure shift here. 15 minute, let's see if there was a 1 minute or a whatever gap here for a fair value. We'll go down to a 5 minute. Look at this, guys. You've got a fair value gap right here, okay? We'll get rid of that. Market structure shift just came from that. There is an entry on this, on the US 30, okay? So you could have had the FVG touched into here. That's your low. You could say you want a 1 to 2, okay, as a low hanging fruit. So that's a 1 to 2. You could also say, right, well, we'll copy this setup, we'll clone it. What we'll do is we'll move this along to, we'll get this on the same. You could see, right, with the deviation 2 or the deviation, well, the deviation 2 was 1 to 4.11. So we'll see what happens with this setup. We'll see what's happened with this. I'm just going to post this into the group of the Discord as well. And it's just messing around and just seeing what you can see with your eye, you know. Uh, Putting this into here, US 30 price watch. We'll just tap this into here. And so we're doing well on this so far. So again, we can mark this up into our pink setup. So two or four that, yeah, there's two or three that have stopped us out. Why have they stopped us out? It's purely because the currency strength, in my opinion. Again, these ones that are JPY related, I do expect them to strike us out. The euro ones, they were looking for sells on the model. However, the euro was very, very strong this morning and going into this afternoon. So again, it's not viable for themselves, if I'm honest with you. So we do expect them to strike us out. However, there's one or two other good ones on here that has been playing out for us, especially on the indices side as well. You know, like I see, you've got the US 31 doing, you've got the gold, which hasn't done a break of a market structure shift yet. You've got the US 500, which is rocking away there. It's heading towards the 2%. You've got the NAS, which again, that's heading towards the 2%. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to update these ones. Just going to do the NAS and I'm going to do the US 500. Just to update the guys in the Discord. And I'll see you back in a while. And the guys, update. So what we're seeing here is one that I put back into the list, okay? The U chef. Okay, so what I'm looking at the moment, we had the accumulation, we had the manipulation, but it's come further down. Okay, so if I just drag this further down here, okay, so what you're seeing there is the manipulation. We're coming back up, and I think this may be too early to be fair. However, there could be the start of a fair value gap starting here. Is there a market structure shift? Not quite. We needed, obviously, price to push. We need price to push above this here, okay? However, get rid of this deviation for now. So the deviation on this is, where did this manipulation start from? Where there was from here. So we can pull this down to here. Okay. So what we could sort of look at from this aspect, I mean, we'll put this in the pink list where it's the to do. Okay. It looks as if we're not going to get a possibility of a fair value gap, simply because obviously the 1 minute, the price is now starting to become bearish at the moment. So if I just knock it down to a 5 minute, we could see from an FVG standpoint, we can see that was an FVG there. Okay. That's an FVG there. There, it's wicked into it. Okay, it's wicked into it. So we'll have this as a price watch. We'll set it up as a long as it's wicked into this. Okay, we'll have the SL to just below here. We'll go for the 1 to 2. Which is going to be within the distribution field. I mean, we've got a deviation of 2. It's going to above the 2 to get the 1 to 2 anyway. We'll see if this is going to play out for us. I will put on here 5 minute entry. 5 minute entry. Okay. So we do have accumulation, manipulation, and we have the distribution. I think I'm going to have to change the color of the distribution phase, to be fair, to coincide with when we go for the profits, because it's clashing with this. So I could make it blue, to be fair, an aqua blue. So again, 1 to 2. There's your 1 to 2. There's your distribution phase within there. We'll see what happens with this. It's a little bit of profit at the minute. I'll add it into the pink list here. We'll just see what happens with it. Again, currency strength, which we never checked. Was it worth actually doing this or not? USD Swiss francs. The USD Swiss franc, the neck and neck at the minute. Okay. So from a price watch aspect, we'll see what this produces. We'll see if it actually does anything. Again, we've had to tap back down into the FVG from that there back into the FVG, and we're just expecting that. And we'll see what happens. We'll have another quick little look. It's only been a couple of minutes, 5 minutes since we last looked, but let's have a rundown. Again, the USD JPY, which we were looking at, just consolidating at the minute. Okay, we have had a push and a wick down. I mean, this may be because of news that was coming in. So I'm still on the sidelines of that. We've got 4.29% so far the day with regards to the euro odds. That's a winner, 4.29% on that. The CAD JPY, again, my computer is slow because I've got so many terminals open. 4.29 on that. The CAD JPY, it's just whipsawing about on the entry area at the minute. Again, we haven't factored in a 4 minute, a 4 hour time frame in with this. The euro USD, the euro was far too strong today, hence why we got stopped out on that. JPY again has been super weak today, but it's still holding its own on the model. GBP we're expecting to be the same as euro. However, at the minute we do have GBP news coming in, Bank of England, I do expect. So the model on this is actually held. It's actually held at the minute. So the 1 to 2 would take us down to that deviation of 2 as well. Anyway, JPY again, we're holding in or around the area of the entry. U-Chef, which is what we've just introduced, based upon the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, it's heading towards 1%, more or less more or less straight away. 5 minute entry on the FVG from the breakers, the the market structure shift. The NAS 100, we are more or less at 2% winner for today. So again, I'm just waiting for this to push. And then I'll post this into the Discord. We'll just give this another minute or so, guys. Let's just see we get the push into that area. It's going to tease us by the look of it. Get this push. There's the 2%. I'll just put this into the Discord. That's the NAS 100 2% winner. So the NAS 100 is a 2% winner. Wait for this to upload itself. So what we're looking at now, we look at the US 500. Let's see where we'll go with that. Coming up to New York Open as well now, so we might get a second burst of volume, to be fair. US 500. Just let the charts load. Near enough 2% winner. It's just off 2%. We'll let this do what it needs to do. It might push up. US 30 is almost 2%. And like I say, the gold, we're still waiting for momentum on this as well. Get this, I'll just take a picture of that. And we'll take a picture of this one as well. So we've got the US 500 and we've got the US 30. And then we've got US 30 heading towards the 2% win also. So we've got US 500 heading towards the 2%. And we've got the US 30 heading towards the 2% as well. So happy days with that. Another quick look on the chart here. US 500. Yeah, it's just about underneath. So that's where we are, guys. Again, we're looking really good on what I've been marking up on this today. This will only get better with regards to how we implement it when I sort of put something together where we're looking at it from a top-down procedure from 4 hour being confluent, or the 15 minutes being confluent with a 4 hour. Okay, today it's just been about marking out the breakout of the session where we just make it accumulation, the breakout being the manipulation, and then we look for a market structure shift back into then sort of highlight that to look for the distribution. I watched loads of videos, like I said this earlier, I watched loads of videos yesterday. I got very intrigued by it, and there was something, the penny just dropped with something where I was visually able to put those onto the trading view, but at the same time doing it visually, identifying the accumulation to manipulation, I could then draw out what I was expecting from a possible market structure shift to a possible FVG, which is what I want to see, to then see this is the deviation. Why is that deviation set at that amount? Well, we'll simply look at the manipulation leg. Where was the last sort of swing point to the swing low, or if we're going for a buy, where was the last swing low to the swing high point? When you do that, it spreads out your deviation, and then we look for the low hanging fruit, technically a 1 to 2, or you could go for the deviation 2, a deviation 2.5, a deviation 4, or a deviation 4.5. Now there's more. I can go into detail with regards to the higher deviations of the 4 and the 4.5. When we go and grab deviations 2 to 2.5, if we get an engulfing move away and it leaves like an order block or something behind, we look for a break retest into the 2.5. If it then pushes away and takes the liquidity just above that 2 or 2.5, it's then good confluence for it to want to go to those higher deviations for the buy, or if it's on a lower side, the lower deviations of the 4 to 4.5. Okay, again, there's so much that's going around in my head at the minute that I wish I could just go, there you go, but I need to condense things down. Today was all about doing this video, of doing a process where I just go, look at all the assets, look at what's on there, mark out, visualize what you know, what you understand, see if you can get a blueprint and the path of expectancy, see if it sort of agrees with that path. If it does, well, let's see what we can get out of it. And today, there's been some really good trade setups. Like I say, this combined with fire entry, there is similarities with the fire entry system that I do, but also with what this is. Again, the fire entry uses, where it comes out of that manipulation phase, the fire entry uses what's the word? I'm forgetting the word where it comes back in. It'll come to me. It pulls back in aggressively, and then we wait for the 50% retracement, and then we wait for the engulfing from that 50%. Okay, there is huge similarities with regards to how I've been doing that along with this. I think the strategies, the system, and the play out of the model, they are exactly the same, albeit we are waiting for, on the fire entry, we are waiting for the touch of the 50% retracement from when the price comes back into play, and then we're looking for that engulfing move. Whereas on this AMD setup, its similarities are the same. You're using a session box. The manipulation comes from the breakout. Then you're looking for the return back in. And instead of looking for a 50% retracement with engulfing on the AMD model setup, what you are looking for, you're looking for that little market structure shift inside the manipulation box. And then you're looking for an FVG. Okay. So they are much of the same. The setups are exactly the same. It's just what resonates and what visually you can see easier or better. Okay. So I'm hoping, given time I can mark this. I mean, this video will have gone on for quite a bit, so it's worth watching the whole of this video, to be fair, and then watch it again if you can do, because the more you see these AMD accumulation, manipulation, distribution, the more you see those and the more you go on the chart and annotate those. Okay, and I want people to start marking these things up and then put them back in the community chat, and then we can all discuss things with this, you know, because as a visual aid, it's helped me massively to identify things with structure, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people talk about ICT concepts. That concept, yes, he does talk about it, but trust me, guys, it's not his setup. It's all derived from Wyckoff stuff. Okay, so yes, the terminology of what phrases he uses on it, yes, he may have canned that, but the overall model, trading model of it, is derived from your springs and things like that, on the basis of a Wyckoff. Okay, so I've rattled on enough there. I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back in due course. We'll see where we are with these setups. I do know, just before I go back off, we'll take one other little loss, especially on these indices, you know. We'll look at in fact, we'll do it from the USD Swiss franc. So the USD Swiss franc, we are now more or less 1%. We're heading towards 1%. The NAS, we know we've hit the 2%. We've hit the 2% there. The US 500, we have just about wicked the 2%, but it's coming back down. US 30, we are heading towards 2% as well. Okay. The GBP, JPY, it's coming into profits again, that the structure is held. The GBP USD structure is held on this as well. It's going well on this. So again, we'll see what happens with this. We'll see if we'll get a trade out of this. The Euro JPY, however, it did, in fact, it has held. It was the Euro USD, wasn't it? This is held and it's structurally going. The Euro USD, we did strike out simply because the Euro was just too strong. The CAD JPY, structure is holding on this at the minute. The Euro order, we know we got 4.29%. So the 4.29% on this, plus the 2% on the NAS, that's 6.29. The other ones, there's another two on here where they're nearly at 2%. So we're nearly at 10 point some percent if those two go to the 2% mark. Okay. I'll pause the video, we'll come back and then we'll finalize this off shortly. I'll see you in a bit. Whoa, look at the news. US 30 has tanked from just being on the 2%. What's happening with gold if that's the case? Gold is out of the question. We didn't really get an entry on it, to be fair. I'm just waiting for my system to load itself up here. Computers are going crazy. Just bear with me, guys. So the US 30 has massively tanked. The US 500, this has done the same. We're looking at the NAS. The NAS it's hit the 2%, but it has massively dropped. Let's see what this means for the pairs. Look at this, guys. 2% on the US Swiss franc, Great British pound, Japanese yen. We've seen some whipsaw. GBP USD, we've got the 2%, and look where the deviation is. It's even went to the big deviation, so that there, it's given a 4.9% on the deviation of that. Low hanging fruit, we would have went for the 2%, so that's a winner. Again, the Euro JPY, we have spiked, but we're still there or thereabouts. We know the Euro USD has been a loser today. Again, because the model was more or less spot on, you know. We know the model was more or less spot on. However, when we're looking at this, okay, we can see in the London session, we can see the accumulation, manipulation here, and then the drop. So we got in a little early on that, to be fair. CAD JPY, this has been affected by the US dollar news. So this has stopped out. The Euro order, we already know that this has been a winner. So I'm going to come to the conclusion for the end of the video now. Okay, so what we'll do is we will look at this. Again, the US must have been news on the US dollar today. Before we close off the video for today, we'll see what news has came in. So it's the CPI data for the US dollar. This is what's been affected today. So let's see what it means for us. We'll get the trusted calculator out, okay? Now, We know we had one on the USD card. Okay, so again, the USD card, we know we struck out on that. So if you just bear with me, guys, I know the USD card we struck out. Bring this over to here. We'll bring the calculator to here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we got a -1, so we're on a -1. Okay, so -1. We didn't get an entry on the USD JPY. The euro odd, we've got a 4.29% plus 4.29%. Okay, we've got the CAD JPY. Yeah, we got an entry, but it wicked. It was in profit, but then it wicked out, so a -1. Okay, Euro USD, the setup was there, but again, we got to go by what we marked. That's another -1. Okay, we've got the Euro JPY. This is currently still in trade. Okay, so what I'll do is on this, I'll do that in the search. What I'll do is I'll put in this field, I'll just put one. Okay, I'll go back to here. So that's one we know is still active. We come back into the chart, excuse me, and we'll go to the GBP USD. This one has hit, we would have had a 2% because it didn't strike out. It did go to deviation 4, so technically it is a 2%, but the deviation 4 is also marked out on my chart. So we'll go to a 4.97. So we'll plus a 4.97 because it's part of the fib. Okay. We go down to JPP, JPY. Again, this, it's more or less been at 1%, but we want at least 2% closing of a trade. So we're going to go on here. We're going to put on here 2 trades are still active. Okay. We're now going to go to the U-Chef. The U-Chef has been beautiful. A 1 to 2. Okay. It's more or less went to the 4 deviation. It hasn't tapped it. So we'll class this as the 1 to 2. So plus 2%. Okay. We'll go to the NAS 100. Again, 2% winner, you can see before the drop. So plus 2%. Okay. We then come to US 500. We didn't quite hit the 2%. We were just a couple of a pip or so off it, and then it tanked. So we'll class that as a -1. Okay, which is a shame. US 30. Let's have a look what's happened on this. US 30, again, nearly went to 2%. Looking at this, we maybe could have had a partial in an SL to a break even when we were so close because it went past the 1%. However, it's lost, so I'm going to -1 that as well. So on the trades on what I've marked up today using the AMD, a profits of 8.26%. Fantastic, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Just going to take a picture of this. I'll put it in the Discord. I don't know why that is not. Come on, just bear with me, guys. There we are. So what we'll do is I'll go into the Discord. Get rid of this. Like I said, I like to record and document everything just so you know I'm not hiding behind anything at all, to be fair. So go into here and just document this. And I'll just let the guys in here know. Just finished 2 days vlog recording with AMD. Accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. End of recording. It was, let's take a look, 8.26 profits. Video uploaded. Yeah. So I'm just going to edit that, recording. Overall, on all setups combined, I had a total of 8.26% profits. So I'll be putting this video, it'll be going up onto the YouTube and into the Discord. Guys, if you want to know and want to follow more on what I do with this sort of stuff, okay, I've got the Discord there. Any recordings that I do or any recordings I do that I don't post online gets put into the Discord as well. I try to break down features and sort of processes with regards to setups and mechanical systems. We've got something special with this one. It is very much like the fire entry that I do, albeit the entry system based upon what was the fire entry with the engulfing to what the AMD thing is. Okay, they are very similar. It's just it's an FVG that's getting used rather than a 50% and yeah, engulfing candle. So they're very much of the same. I'm going to be interested to do more data with these. I think I'm going to do stuff with FX Replayer where I can then do videos and I can do batch back testing for the entry model and get some statistics that way. Also get some analytics, if that makes sense. And then I can take it from there. But very, very much like this AMD setup stuff. There'll be more of it coming. If you like what you've seen, this has been a long video. Drop your comments in the Discord if you're in the Discord, but more importantly, give this a thumbs up on the YouTube. Also, if you don't mind, please comment on this video. Let me know, do you trade this way? Is there something you struggle with trading this way? Is there something you maybe want me to do a video on that I can maybe go over? If I understand what problem you're having and I think I may have a fix or an answer for it, I'll do that as well. Okay, guys, until next time, Mr. Forex Fire out. Very good session today with lots of knowledge, golden nuggets, and good information. See you later, guys.